I'm Leo London. Welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to be presenting to you the very first episode in a 20-episode season, sealed only Premier League, a sealed only challenge based on the Premier League. So, 4 duelists representing 4 teams in the league, each choosing a summoning mechanic to build their deck around, playing each other for 20 episodes, all fixtures lined up in advance so we all know who's playing who in which episodes so you can plan your product and your deck accordingly. 3 points for a win, 0 points for a loss, 1 point each in the event of a draw. That's how the league is structured. 3 transfers or trade to be initiated per duelist. So if you offer the trade, that counts, but if you accept, it does not. Now, what deck and summoning mechanic is Leo London, Yugi Leo, going to use in the first ever sealed only Premier League? Pendulum Magicians. You know it. I'm starting not with Master of Pendulum because those structure decks are over $100 US a piece and I just couldn't swing it. I'm going to be starting with 21 or 22 packs of Pendulum Evolution that I've scrounged the city for, so they're not even all from the same place. So I have no idea what's going to be inside. So I at first had the disadvantage of having random cards and maybe not getting any Pendulum calls at all, for example. But I believe I do have an early advantage because I'll have the most versatile deck, being able to fusion, synchro, and exease, assuming I get those monsters. But most of all, putting up Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. If I get one of those and can put it up, it is a guaranteed W early on. Where I think I'll suffer is after the first couple of fixtures, all the other summoning mechanics are supported. Synchro, Xyz, Links, all very heavily supported. Pendulum, not supported at all. So I'm going to struggle late, but I think early, out of the gate, I got to win as many points as possible while I have the advantage. So let's get into my opening and see what we can get. Okay, so what I'm hoping to get is Time Pendulum Graph and the whole setup with Time Star Magician. And so far we have the Star Pendulum Graph, the Chronograph Sorcerer, the Rescue Hamster, Dark Mirror, and Archfiend Eccentric. White Wing Magician. Ah, there he is, Time Star Magician. Wisdom Eye Magician, excellent. Time Breaker Magician, excellent. Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon, excellent. Star Pendulum Graph, Double Iris Magician, Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon, Enlightenment Paladin, Dragon Mirror. There she is. Harmonizing Magician, Purple Poison Magician, Zephyr Wendy, Time Gazer Magician, Odd Eyes Fusion, Time Star Magician, Star Pendulum Graph, Odd Eyes Meteorverse Dragon, Abductor, and Dragon Pit Magician. Another Chronograph Sorcerer, White Wing Magician, Metal Foes Crimsonite, Time Gazer Magician, excellent. Pendulum Shift. Another Purple Poison Magician, Astrograph Sorcerer, banned. Metal Foes Counter, Dharma Eye Magician, Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. Another Double Iris Magician, Black Fang Magician, excellent. Skullcrabat Joker, banned. Doomstar Magician, and Dharma Eye Magician. This is not a good card. White Wing Magician, Double Iris Magician, Zephyr Wendy, Stargazer Magician, Zephyr whatever. Astrograph Sorcerer, Chronograph Sorcerer, Time Gazer Magician, Metal Foes Counter. There's another Black Fang Magician, Purple Poison Magician, Dragon Pulse Magician, Noble Dragon Magician, and Oak Dragon Magician. Time Star Magician, Astrograph Sorcerer, Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. This card, I believe, is interesting. I'm going to read. Another Harmonizing Magician, another Time Star Magician, another Metal Foes, Master of Pendulum the Draco Slayer, a Quillfort Scout. Chronograph Sorcerer. There she is, the Time Pendulum Graph. Was hoping to get one of these. Oracle of Zephyr and Pendulum Call. Fantastic pack. Time Star Magician, Chronograph Sorcerer, Pendulum Reborn. Black Fang Magician, Star Pendulum, Quillfort Monolith, Dragon Pit Magician. Astrograph Sorcerer, Black Fang Magician, Unwavering Bond, Magical Abductor. Purple Poison Magician, Time Pendulum Graph again, very good. Tuning Magician, excellent. White Wing Magician, Time Pendulum Graph, that's the third one. Wisdom Eye Magician, Time Breaker Magician. If you notice a sudden change in camera angle, it's certainly not because I knocked over and broke my camera stand. Black Fang Magician, Time Star, Pendulum Reborn, another Rescue Hamster, and a Zephyr Divine Strike. Harmonizing Magician, Purple Poison Magician, Yang Zing, Pendulum Call, yes, and Wisdom Eye, great pack. Alright, so here's the deck that's going to take me to the top of the Premier League. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to swing into action with 3 copies of Odd Eye's Pendulum Dragon, main deck boss monster, and I want to be able to fusion summon Odd Eye's Vortex Dragon as much as possible because it's going to be a beast in the early format. 3 copies of Harmonizing Magician. Yeah, because she's going to help me get to the Absolute Dragon and then the Vortex, or I can summon the main boss monster, Enlightenment Paladin. 1 copy of Double Iris Magician, because it's limited to 1. 3 copies of Purple Poison Magician for the attack boost and the pop. I think both of those effects are going to be big in the early format. And same with Black Fang Magician, the special summon effect and the attack reduction effect is going to be huge because I cannot get over anything that's higher than 2500 attack right now. 1 copy of, let's put her in the center, of White Wing Magician, mainly to fill out the deck. I had 39 cards, didn't know what else to put in, and I think her protection effect and scale might come in handy because I think 2 of the early decks have Effect Veiler in them, which is the only hand trap in the format, which targets, so I might be able to negate somebody who's trying to, I don't know, stop the search of Harmonizing Magician, or something like that. 2 copies of Dragon Pit Magician to clear back row and to Xyz into Absolute. 1 copy of Oath Dragon Magician for recycling Harmonizing Magician. Unfortunately, I only got 1. 3 copies of Wisdom Eye Magician to make sure I have scales. Since I don't have 3 Pen Call, I got a feeling I'm going to be relying on these a lot more. 1 copy of Dragon Pulse Magician for spot removal. I guarantee that's going to come into handy in the early game. And then 2 copies of Time Breaker Magician, again, for that spot removal. I really do think that these are going to be important in the first, like, 2 or 3 matches. Maybe even 4. For their spot removal. 1 copy of Time Gazer Magician because I don't want to be hit by battle traps, and if I attack with Odd Eyes and they flip over Mirror Force, it won't do anything. And to make sure that Time Gazer is in scale, we got 3 Chronograph Sorcerer. Now, special summoning the Time Gazer isn't that important because I'm not going into Electromite, I'm not Link summoning. There's pretty much nothing I can do with a level 3 except Synchro into Meteor Burst Dragon, which is not that great, but Zephyrnu is great. He's going to search out the counter trap, and the counter trap is broken in the early format. It's going to be as broken as Odd Eye's Vortex Dragon is. 1 copy of Tuning Magician because I only drew 1. Pulled 1, I guess. 2 copies of Star Pendulum Graph. I would run this at 1, but I just have to fill deck space. 2 copies of Pendulum Call because unfortunately I only drew 2, and truthfully I was lucky to draw 2. I think Josh, when he started his first sealed only journey with Pendulum Magician, he didn't draw any in his box. Now I rarity bumped, obviously, some of the decks, so this is a secret rare Oracle of Zephyra. And then 2 Odd Eyes Fusion because I want to see it enough to fusion summon Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon correctly so I could revive it eventually with Celestial Magician. 3 copies of Time Pendulum Graph. It's going to be super important early. And then last but not least, 1 Zephyr Divine Strike to round out the 40 card deck. And now we're going to take a look at the extra deck. 1 copy of Enlightenment Paladin. I would say that this is the extra deck boss monster. 1 copy of Meteor Burst Dragon, 2 copies of Time Star Magician. I always think it's funny that Time Star Magician is clearly Stargazer Magician and Time Gazer Magician, like arts combined, like they fused, but you can't possibly make this with that, so I don't understand. 1 copy of Absolute Dragon to help me eventually cheat out Vortex Dragon, and I think maybe the revival effect will come in handy at some point, I don't know. And then 1 copy of Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. I'm probably going to bump this up to the ultimate rare when I play, but we'll see.
All right! Sealed only Premier League. Let's go! Super hyped about this. We each get a summoning mechanic that we're going to focus on. So, of course, your boy Wham Bam Quasar Man got Synchros. So, as far as I've been told, all the cards are on the table. Just whatever you pull, you can use. So we're not having some like restrictions like no hand traps or no using different summon mechanics. Like if I pull a link that I want to use, I can use links and stuff like that. I just, focus on synchros. So we got starter deck, or not starter deck, we got the Synchron Extreme structure deck, which was the thing I picked up when I first kind of started getting back into the game casually in 2015 with a couple of my buds at the time. My Synchron Extreme structure decks have not come in yet, so I don't have the physical cards quite yet. And we really want to get this out, so this is the best way to do it that is also time efficient. So, the thing about this deck, and I feel like everyone's going to be like, man, my deck is trash. But my deck might actually be broken. And I don't mean broken in the sense of like, oh my god, it's so broken, it's good. No, I mean broken as in like it doesn't function properly. There's a couple cards that are in here that I thought were in here. For some reason I thought Double Summon was in here, which isn't really a good card. But in this format, it might be a good card. But also, Level Eater's banned. And Jet Synchron's banned, which means there's also no reason to run Quick Draw Synchron because you can't lower his level with Level Eater and then make a free level 5 Synchro without special or without normal summon. So that sucks. But I'll just go over the deck list that I have here for you. We got 3 Junk Synchron. We got 3 Quibble Hedgehog. We got 3 Doppel Warrior. We got 2 Fleur Synchron. 3 Rush Warrior. 3 Synchron Carrier, 3 Synchron Explorer, 3 Effect Veiler. We at least have that. We at least have Effect Veiler. That's pretty big. 1 for 1, which is pretty solid. Reinforcement of the Army, pretty solid. 3 Tuning, 3 Starlight Junction, 3 Scrap Iron Scarecrow, 3 Call the Haunted, and 3 Solemn Warning. So I'm really hoping to just kind of stall out long enough to make like Stardust Warrior and Junk Warrior, I guess, and try to swing for game. I don't know. This deck doesn't really have any solid win conditions yet. Extra deck, we have 3 Stardust Warrior, 3 Junk Warrior, and 3 Excel Synchron. Then side deck, we got 3 Swift Scarecrow, 3 Night Beam, 3 Scrap Fist, 3 Double Cyclones, and 3 Scrap Iron Statues. So, I mean, these first games for all of us are going to be pretty rough, because it's going to be figuring out the format, figuring our decks out, and what they need. So I'm not too concerned about this first game, even though I'm pretty confident we're not going to do that well. But I'm confident that we will come away with a solid strategy as to how to move forward to really get this deck to where we want it to be and where it needs to be in order to do well in the sealed only Premier League. So let's rev it up, I guess.
One little production note is, yes, this duel took place on Dueling Book, but the rest of them will be live duels in person or on remote duels depending on COVID restrictions, but this one is the only one that'll be done on Dueling Book. The rest of them will be done in person, and you guys voted that the duels will be shown in full with just live audio, so you can hear us banter. You guys voted it for that way, and I'm gonna do it. So yeah. So I'm not gonna give a turn-for-turn breakdown, but Quasar Man Dylan wins the coin toss and then elects to go first. Opens up with a pretty okay opening play by his standards, I think, ending on Junk Warrior. Then I begin mine with a very bad hand, just setting one and passing. And he is able to create Stardust Warrior on his second turn. And now he's just able to banish away my Pendulum monsters and prevent my Pendulum summoning mechanic from happening at all, which is my only advantage. Yeah, that time he used Solemn Warning instead. And things are not looking good for me, but I don't want to give up because I know if I draw the Time Pendulum graph, or I can get Dragon Pulse Magician in the scale, I'll be able to get out of this situation. I just need to wait for those to happen. And I thought I was going to do it with Time Breaker Magician, but unfortunately, he's about to create a second Stardust Warrior, which is a huge problem. Now I have to deal with it twice as often, and it's twice as difficult to overcome. But I'm still not willing to give up. I really want to win this competition. So I'm going to play out every single duel until the last card is played. And even though he's putting immense pressure on me right now, I know that things will eventually swing my way, and they do as I draw a Pendulum Call and I'm able to set up some plays and get some monsters on the board. Finally able to activate Odd Eyes Fusion, get Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon on the field, and bounce one of his Stardust Warriors, and from there it's downhill for Dylan as he's burned his resources. Accidental coin flip. As I was activating Enlightenment Paladin's ability to re-add Pendulum Call to my hand, and from there it's just game. Dylan isn't able to recover as he burned all its resources, making those two Stardust Warriors, and I'm just able to generate too much advantage without them. And truthfully, I felt that Dylan deserved to win that match, but I wasn't willing to give up. He definitely played really well and really, really made me sweat. I'm not going to lie. Again, Junk Warrior, first turn. I'm able to Pendulum summon out Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon in the first turn, make Enlightenment Paladin again on the first turn, burn him for some damage, attack again with Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. This one is not looking like it's going to be nearly as even for Dylan. It's looking very bad, as he's just taken a pounding here early. And with that, I'm able to reduce his attack points in half, securing the victory and early points on the table. That was a hell of a game. I was not expecting to be able to overcome not one, but two Stardust Warriors. Him just being able to negate my Pendulum Summon was huge, but I was eventually able to grind out the win and steal a W that I maybe didn't deserve, if I'm being honest. But as we can look over to the extremely expensive Leotron 5000 scoreboard, you will see that I have the only 3 points in the league, as I have a game in hand on Connor and Josh, who will be playing next week. So let's see who joins me in a tie for first place next week, when Connor and his link-based strategy takes on Josh and his Xyz-based strategy.